Hi, my name is Sharon Dyson, and the book that I'd like to share with you today, my choice, is Sacred Ground: The Chicago Streets of Timuel Black by Timuel Black Jr. When trying to decide which book that I would choose for this assignment, I chose this book because I felt that it tied in so well with all the other works that we had read this semester in our class. Speaking about African American history and slavery, even to events that are taking place today. I thought this book dealt with that as well. Timuel Black is an American historian. He's a civil rights activist, a World War II veteran, and he's an expert on African American history as well. He came to Chicago as a baby with his family. They were part of the first Great Migration from Alabama. They came by train, as many others did, in the summer of 1919. Actually, they came about a few weeks after the Great Chicago Riots of 1919 that we also read about in our class. In his book, he highlights and recalls his neighborhood, growing up in his neighborhood of Bronzeville and the surrounding south side suburbs, which he calls his sacred ground. I found it so inspirational to read how that these descendants of slaves came together as a community to fight injustices in housing, in jobs, um, just all over. They were fighting together, and I found that inspirational. In his book, he also recalls growing up in the different schools in the neighborhoods, and it was interesting to read how many people that he actually went to school with and grew up with, many of whom became famous, such as Nat King Cole, the great singer, and then members of the Harlem Globetrotters were actually recruited out of the local high school there. He was very active in the unions and trying to get better wages and better working conditions. He also worked with Dr. Martin Luther King in the civil rights movement. I love how in his book he talks about the South Side, the people, the community, how the different businesses, the arts, just the family, the camaraderie that was there. He speaks about the uh, racism that the black soldiers faced when they came back from World War II. Just overall, the book has so many details in it, vivid details that he describes, that really gives you a sense of what growing up on the South Side was like. Um, Last year, I actually had the great fortune to attend a program that he was at. It was Black History Month, and he was the guest there. It was just so heartwarming to see him being interviewed. He had just turned 100 years old, and to see how he answered the question, that his mind was so sharp and he could remember all the details and the street names and the different community activities that went on. It just was a wonderful event to behold. And then to actually meet him afterwards and have him sign my book, it's an event that I will never forget. I do want to point out one particular, is actually the beginning of the book, that is the first line in his book, the first chapter, and it reads, "You come from people." He said this is what his mother would remind him of daily, that you came from people who have been through slavery. This is a wonderful book. I urge you to put this on your reading list. I guarantee that it's so very informative and that you will enjoy it greatly. Thank you.